Welcome to episode 5 of Fishing with Ralph. We set out yesterday to catch some big kingfish, and we found them. We call this episode The Big Ones. Enjoy the video. So we are all loaded up this morning and ready to go. Just waiting on the crew. Trying out a couple of different techniques this morning. Got the gear loaded this morning and we're ready to go. Some top water. Got Man's Stretch and Man's Magnum Plus, the deep divers. I'm going to try out a couple of different things this morning and we'll see how it goes. A couple of hours later, after fueling up the boat and loading up the gear, we were happily underway to our first spot. We start noticing a few clouds in the area and we need to expect some scattered showers. The National Weather Service rain forecast was calling for scattered showers on a very hot day. So I had the radio on, monitoring the weather conditions throughout this entire trip. While looking around and noting the conditions around us, we noticed a cloud that looked like a mushroom cloud. We knew there was a thunderhead in that direction and you can see the rainfall beneath it. So we had to keep our eyes open. All of a sudden, a rain cloud formed above us and opened up. So we were receiving a little rain and driving through a small storm. But looking around, conditions were still pretty good. With just clouds in the horizon, a few clouds here and there, scattered showers, radio was on, National Weather Service was still predicting fairly good conditions with just a few scattered light showers. So we knew as long as we don't have any thunder showers with lightning, thunder, and rough seas, we could navigate around these storms. Nevertheless, my float plan includes a contingency plan for bad weather. If things turn south very quickly, and with enough horsepower, I can head in the opposite direction and I always have a way out. So that little shower ended just in time as we arrived at our first spot. So we got the lines out and we were getting started, making the first pass. Let's see what we can do. Looking over in the southwest direction, we can see a rain cloud in a shower off in the horizon. The clouds were still all around us, dumping little showers here and there. This was expected, and we had to be monitoring the weather very closely. As we approached this platform, we did notice the birds working the surface of the water, and as we got closer, you could see the bait fish just busting the surface. We knew this was an opportunity to catch some fish. There was some action going on, and we were very hopeful. So here we go. First pass. Not a single bite at that first spot, despite several passes. We were still hopeful because there was a lot of action. The birds were working, the bait fish were busting the surface of the water, and there were other boats around. So we were still very hopeful and we were going to keep trying. We would not give up. Still hopeful, we're cruising along, noting all the action on the surface of the water, when suddenly we hear that beautiful sound of one of the reels singing. The drag was being pulled and we knew the fish were on. So here we go. Let's see what we got. And the fight continued. There was a bit of a struggle. We only had one fish on, but we weren't giving up. Despite a bit of a struggle, it appeared we would at least land one fish here. And the fight continued, but eventually the rod was handed off. And gotcha. Fish number one was in the boat. It was a biggie. It was one of the biggest I've seen in quite a while. Fish number one was in the boat. It was time to find fish number two. So the fishing continued and we made some more passes. We continued trolling the area without a whole lot of success landing fish. We did hook up to one other big one that made a real mess out of all the lines and tangled everything up. He headed straight for the motors and wrapped the fishing line around the propellers. So now we had a mess in our hands and we ended up with about 1 hour of downtime unwrapping fishing line from each propeller one at a time. During that mess, we lost one lure to the big fish and ended up having to retie the lines. We were not giving up. The bird action and the bait fish action was still strong. The scattered showers were staying away from us, so we still had a good day ahead. While reeling in all the lines so that we can move spots, one fish decided he would strike. Evidently, he wasn't a very big fish because it wasn't a very good fight. but he was jerking a little bit and we knew he was a keeper. Being the smallest of the day at 32 inches long, he was well above the 27-inch minimum length limit in Texas. He was a good fish, but he was certainly small compared to what we had seen all day. By now it was mid-afternoon. We still had a lot of scattered showers in the area and a lot of clouds off in the horizon. We decided to head in a little bit closer. So we're in a different area, a little closer in. We're still trolling, not having a lot of success, but we're still hopeful.
Souls die in a fire and the rest left to wonder why. 24 floors glowing in the dawn, burns hurtling in the afterlife.
So we approached this old dilapidated platform. It looks like a pile of rust out there in the middle of the water. It certainly seems that it was eligible for decommission. But as long as it provides fish habitat, we were going to troll around it. So we continue trolling along. Suddenly we have a strike on the port side. That fish falls off. And suddenly on the starboard side, another one must have been following closely and he strikes with a vengeance. And so it was on. And you're in. Another big fish in the boat. Man, is he a thick one. These fish are going to make some great ceviche. Now that he's in the boat, we will fast forward to the end of the day. It was getting late in the afternoon and we were going to start heading back in. After all, we had a very successful day. We avoided most of the storms other than a night shower or two. And we ended up with 4 large kingfish, a couple of the largest I've seen in quite a while. And despite a couple of hiccups, including fishing line wrapped around the propellers, we had a very fun day. Thank you for watching.